Susie Hart from Susie's Studio, and this is Emily Randall, salsa instructor here. So we're sitting on the floor here because I'm going to show a common injury that we have in dancing, which is right here, this joint between your toe and your foot, the rest of your foot. Quite often, women, particularly with very tight shoes, can aggravate this joint so that you actually have a little bit too much of an angle here. And if you look at your own foot, you can see you might have, actually I think Emily's feet are a little bit better because she has a pretty much of a straight line from here to here, see that? So she's not really as prone as I am to a bunion kind of injury. Now mine, if you see, it kind of goes at an angle, it kind of sticks up here. And some people's joint will become even more like this because unfortunately women's shoes tend to squeeze us into this unnatural position. And if you dance in that position with tight shoes, it can aggravate this. So what we're going to talk about today is if you do have some kind of aggravation in your bunion, or if you want to prevent them, we're going to show you a few different exercises to take care of that. There are actually muscles right along this side of this toe that can allow that toe to stretch towards, say, towards my finger. Mm-hmm. So one way to kind of find those is if I have both my feet like this, you'll see my toes are kind of make a V. I want to try to push my toes together so that they're touching.
Oh, wow.
And you won't feel it at first, and then eventually you'll feel a little muscle. What you can do is kind of make them touch.
That's a weird muscle.
Yeah, it's a very weird muscle to feel. But you can make them touch like this. See how now my heels aren't touching. Now I can touch my heels and try to keep them staying touching. And you might feel a little stretch right here. So basically what we're wanting to do is strengthen that muscle so that we can keep our toe in line so that when it moves up and down, it's really moving up and down rather than at this odd angle. So that's the first thing we can do is just kind of start training the feeling of that muscle. You put this, so we're doing kind of an outside V. See, my heels are not touching, but my toes are along each other. And now I'm going to gradually pull my heels together and try to keep my toes stretching towards each other. And actually I can kind of feel quite a big stretch there, right here. You probably don't feel it as much because your feet, these are the feet that you want to have.
Perfect feet.
Perfect feet. So now the second thing we're going to do, so now we've kind of felt that muscle. Now we can start teaching it to move that way by actually physically I'm going to hold it out there and I'm going to move it up and down. And I'm just going to help it stay in that position. So I'm going to move my toes up and down. You can also use like one of these little rubber bands that hold it. So we're trying to just teach it that when it goes up and down, it's going to go in that position. Another thing we can do now to strengthen our toes is we get a little towel. We're going to stretch our toes as far apart as they can be. That you're stretching them out like that, and then you squeeze your towel in. This is good for your arch too. So you do this.
Like you're trying to pick it up.
Like you're trying to pick it up, yeah. And you're stretching them out, so that'll also make that big toe stretch out. And this is my dog, Happy. This is going to help us out here. He's going to keep his bone over there. Okay, so hopefully.
He just really wants to learn about bunions.
He really wants to learn about bunions. Yes, okay, so. Some other things you want to do to take care of your feet is if you have a ballroom shoe or if you have a Latin shoe, you want to make sure that from this side to this side is as wide as possible. You want to feel no pressure on that bump at all. So if you feel like when you put on your shoes they're kind of tight, then just order another pair of shoes. It's really, really worth it. And just order them wide. And if they feel a little too loose, you can always get these little clear plastic straps that hold them on. That's much safer and more comfortable in the long run to do that. The other thing you can do to sort of train this is you can buy little spacers at the pharmacy that you can put between your toes and you can walk around with them. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable if you keep it for very long. In Lithuania, actually, the dancers there will sleep with spools, little spools of thread in between their toes like this. Yes. So, but you basically, you get the general idea that you are trying in all ways possible to get that toe, to convince it to move up and down this way.
Great.
And that will prevent a lot of problems in the future.
Awesome.
That's it.